Another weekend, and you're with me again. Last time that we worked together was about a year ago with Astrid. And, if you remember right, you'd come in, you were substitute teaching. Before we start there, let me tell them a little bit about you, or maybe you can tell me about it.
Nah, go ahead. That's fine.
University of Calgary, master's level, curriculum. Did your great work up there, and then all of a sudden you're back in Idaho. And we run across each other at an elementary school where I'm working with a kid named Joy. And I think you remember Joy.
Yep.
And you're substitute teaching, a master's level educator, trying to get work, and I'm fortunate enough to meet you at an elementary school.
So what was your first kick, as they say in Canada, the first kick at the can, when I come into the classroom as a sub?
Well, it wasn't really even about that. I was working with Joy. Joy, 9 years old. Dad's no longer in the household, nonverbal. He had been, he'd been taken out of school by the L Squad. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had been eloping around school. He had been going into classrooms, and his behaviors started getting aggressive. And so he is forcibly taken out of school. Police come, and he's out for a couple of weeks. I get a call by the principal and says, gosh, we got a kid. He's coming back in, and he's got behaviors. And so that's how I get to the school. And I'm there 4 months, and I'm working with Joy. And I observe the kid for a couple of days, learn a little bit about the history of the home, and kid's starving. With a lot of kids with autism, they're very particular about what they put in their mouth. Doesn't matter if they're starving or not. They'll only eat what they want to eat. And in Joy's case, wasn't getting enough protein. Wasn't going to get enough anything. So what had happened in his situation is mom was 28 years old. There was another child in the household. Joy get home from school at 5 o'clock, dinner's at 7 o'clock. Refrigerator is closed and locked. And no more food until next morning. And mom wasn't feeding him when she got up in the morning because government breakfast at school. So here a kid is, his metabolic rate had slowed down so that he was retaining weight, he was inactive. But mom doesn't know any better, she's trying. Dad's no longer at home, too much stress. Joey, who had special attention, now doesn't have the attention because he got a little baby in the household. Right. And so he gets home, and he's hungry. So over the course of a couple of weeks, he's looking for food, and he's eloping around school, and he goes in there, and being the good educators we are, we haul him out because he's aggressive, he's fighting, he's doing this and that. Well, he was eating 300 calories a day worth of food. He was going through, the cold cereal and hot milk was just not enough for him. And so I get called in, and the first thing we do is try to figure out what he's eating. And school said, well, we can give him some peanut butter. I said, well, he doesn't like peanut butter. Well, we give him some hamburger. He'll eat a hamburger because, I've seen him eat McDonald's. So we figured it out, we stabilized it, and worked with him for a period of time. And all of a sudden, teacher at the school comes down with an injury, and you and I meet. And we find... And I think at that point, you'd been substituting in quite a few classes around there. I think you'd only been there a couple of weeks of substituting. And we run across each other out on the playground. And we're introduced.
I was out in the portable working with Joey with you.
Well, no, that was later. No, we had, when that came about after we had met, that was, but.
What comes to mind for me is you working with Joey and me just watching Joey glyphing.
Oh,
like crazy.
Amazing stuff.
Right, storyboarding everything, and me not, right, I'm educated about education, and I had classes in special ed, but I didn't know that what he was doing was called glyphing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right, so thank you for opening my eyes to his glyphing. Right.
Did not even have to
That,
lift
that, for me, that was a seminal moment of working with Joey. It had nothing to do with our playground interaction of those conversations. It was, what's he? Oh, he's glyphing. He's telling stories in writing.
And what did they want him to do? Calendar.
Yeah.
What day of the week is it?
Yeah.
Here's a kid who had
What's
an
the day?
amazing,
What's the month? What's the day of the week?
amazing capacity to doodle. And it wasn't just doodling, it was incredible glyphs.
Good stories.
Good stories.
Yeah.
He couldn't communicate. And if he wanted to know a word, when we gave him the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do there?
And it wasn't even Microsoft. It's free graphic program that you can take shapes and manipulate shapes.
Do you remember
and
when he
copy,
was...
paste, and build shapes? Joey took animals, just animal black and white graphics, and created a map of the world, a world map, using dogs and cats and giraffes and hippos, just putting them into a circle, stretching them to match the continents, and coloring them for land and water masses.
He did some amazing
You didn't
things.
see that stuff, right?
I did. I started on the original process with and saw that. What happens with kids with autism is the behaviors. And because they have behaviors, they don't feel like they have the capacity to learn. Every kid I've ever worked with autism are not low-functioning kids. These are high-functioning kids. But because they don't communicate in an efficient manner as we understand it, they're deemed low capacity in their learning capability. Every kid. And Joey was an amazing kid. If he needed, he'd sit at the computer for 8 or 10 hours if we let him, not for the repetition work, but to learn, to understand. And that was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
He was lazy. He learned some good things. No, he didn't. He didn't want to do the things that was required. Not we, but what the system required him to do.
Well,
didn't want to walk, so
we as the system. So he'd sit down and crap himself.
Yeah, which was great. So what did we do? We took him to the bathroom first, and then he couldn't figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had to walk him. So he did good things.
Yeah. And then Melissa came into the picture after Zach. And Melissa did amazing things with his diet. No longer would she let him take those Pop-Tarts or whatever the hell it was he was eating.
I don't even know.
That, remember, he would take his food apart and pull stuff out, like breakfast pizza.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a breakfast.
He would, whatever it was, right? He would take things apart and only take the parts out, and he would manipulate the rest. Yeah, she said no. Bite or it's gone. Bite or it's gone. And he learned. He ate his food.
A behavior and a consequence.
Yeah, done.
ABC, antecedent. What is he doing? Behavior and a consequence.
Yeah.
And once he understood that dynamic, he was able to function under that, wasn't he?
It took him a while, but he could then get a piece of breakfast pizza, sit down and eat it without pulling the sausage off, without manipulating the cheese, without wadding up the crust. He would take a bite of pizza and put it down. He'd take a bite of pizza, put it down, take a bite of pizza, put it down, and he would eat his pizza without manipulating it.
The same thing with his glyph work.
Same thing, yeah.
When he was forced to do Skinner's work is a discrete trial.
Yeah, star stuff.
Star stuff, yeah. So instead of allowing him to release his stress by doodling for 5 minutes and then going through that horrible repetitive behavior that would drive anybody insane, they said no. So the way we modified that behavior is allow him to touch it, allow him to have it. What matter? But he's not paying attention. Well, he's not paying attention anyway. What he's doing, he's fighting with you so that he can have the time and to get to where he wants to do, to feel safe, to feel comfort.
Yeah,
that's real important stuff. So we're going to talk about Astrid. And the story that we were telling here is how I got to know you. And so all of a sudden, we're working with Joey, and I tell you about Astrid. And I need a guy to do some filming. And you said, I know how to work a camera. And you show up here on a Saturday morning, we go through the 15 episodes, and we're out of here. I'm gone for a while, and we stay in conversation. But what did you think about this little girl and about just the dynamic of who she was?
The piece for me, out of everything that we did on that Saturday and Sunday, was her haircut. that she sat in a barber's chair for an hour and let this person touch her face and touch her hair, and you wouldn't know that she was affected with any kind of brain disorder whatsoever.
Well, she's not affected by brain. She has a problem with a developmental disability.
Whatever,
yeah.
right? However you want to paint that. Whatever you want to paint that. You wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
She was a kid that sat there. She liked having the touch. Yeah. Did the bangs get in the eyes? Yeah. Is that annoying? Yeah. Did she act out because of it? No.
Yeah.
Right?
She felt safe, didn't she?
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? That was cool. And to see her tenacity, because I didn't follow you guys around on the bicycle, right? I filmed you leaving, I filmed you coming back, right? I filmed you guys chasing geese and feeding geese, and watched a little bit of her behavior coming out, but not much, right? Seeing her on the wall and the tenacity that she showed just to finish the problem. Whatever she was on the wall with, finishing the problem.
She did 3 things that day, I think, at the YMCA. She climbed the 30-foot wall, which was an amazing thing.
Yeah, she did the wall. She did the rope ladder.
The rope ladder.
That's a problem.
Oh, man.
That's a huge problem. Halfway up, you've got a 3-foot gap.
And she had to master
that.
that.
You have to pull yourself up to get through the gap to finish the
And she was tired, and she was able to do it. And she wouldn't quit.
Would not give up.
And then
kids that I've taught who are higher functioning, they see that gap. I'm done. Get me down. No, finished it. No, get me down. I'm done.
Scary.
Yeah. That just isn't an issue for her.
And on the small wall with the very difficult
just a lot of different holds.
Yeah. And just an amazing process.
I would have loved to have seen her get to the wall where you actually follow a route with the colored tape on the holds, right? She would just, whatever hold she took to get to the top, good for her.
When we first started,
but the holds really, when they set up a rock wall, I don't know how familiar you are with that, but each colored tape represents a hold on a particular route. So you can climb a red route and you can only put your hands and feet on red taped holds.
Sure.
You can climb a yellow route. That's all you can touch. Right? I would love to see her get to that point of development. Astrid, red only. Go.
She had no problem with that type of concept. Her
we just want her to get to the top to ring the bell.
All she
and
wanted,
me not drop the camera.
Her situation was that she wanted to belong. She wanted to participate.
Yeah.
She did not want to be excluded. And I remember taking her to the wall the first couple of times, and she would take the most difficult wall, which was you had the overhang, and she had to go underneath it, and she wasn't strong enough.
Right.
And she'd go down, and out of frustration, she'd have a behavior.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I've had behaviors on the wall at an overhang too, and I'm just screaming.
Hers was that we wouldn't allow her to continue. And it's time to go, Astrid. Well, the same thing when she was upstairs on the computer. It's time to go. Well, she hadn't been on a computer in a year, and she had found her friends again and all this stuff, and all of a sudden we're asking her to leave.
Well, and then the public perception, Wayne, when we went to Albertsons to get some donuts.
Oh, wasn't that fun?
And the manager shutting us down. You can't film here.
Well, why not? Well, you can't do that. But we also went to Best Buy.
Best Buy, we were fine. Yeah. No issues.
With so many people, it's
the public perception of what a camera means.
Yeah, and
what's captured, what's not captured, what counts, what doesn't count.
What was important, I think, in just that whole drama. You met Chris, and you got a chance to see, a father just wanting to
doing
know
what he
that
can.
Yeah,
right. Best that he can with the tools he has to work with, and just frustrated because he can't do more.
Can't do more.
Yeah.
I love these kids. They're now down in Texas, and hopefully
They're in Texas.
They're in Texas, in their hometown, and hopefully over the next little while we can. I love these kids and want to work with them and do the things.
Is Chris down there as well?
Chris is down there with them.
So he found work down there.
He went down and moved in with his family to get the support that he needed from them. Again, medicated and cut up here. Astrid didn't qualify for any more IBI. Ethan never qualified. And there were some services that the state of Texas was able, there's a huge waiting list, but now they had family and some support systems that he didn't have it here. And so you as an educator, a credentialed educator with no practical experience in dealing with kids with autism. You are thrown into an environment.
At that young of an age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thrown into an environment where the difficulties and the expectations are such that maybe you weren't the right guy for the job, but you were the right guy for the job. You understood what was going on. Yeah,
I think I was the right guy for the job.
I think you're there.
Right.
But
when I can tell an educational assistant, listen, you can't light yourself up when these kids are acting this way. Right? They don't do anything but react negatively when you give them the hairy eyeball.
What do you mean by that? Again, you came into the class as an educated substitute teacher, but you weren't put in charge of the class. They let a woman that had...
They let the educational assistant run the class.
An assistant who had no background in...
She had 25 years of experience in the classroom.
As a what?
As an educational assistant.
Which is? Somebody that says, hey, the teacher says, hey, would you take this over there and make sure they work this program?
And she worked that program.
And did a great job with it.
And both with really highly ADHD, two boys, very high ADHD kids, grandkids. Right?
Her own kids.
Her own grandkids.
Absolutely.
Right. So she has that experience as a grandparent. Right. So did she have the education? No. Did she have the experience? I think she did. I think she did the best job she could. What she didn't have was somebody holding up the mirror to say, when you light it up, when you show Nate how pissed off you are, all he's going to do is feed that.
I remember that. I remember that incident where she was reinforcing behaviors.
Absolutely.
And he'd have a behavior, and it was an attention-getting behavior, and the first thing that...
And she'd light up. Boom.
And he got reinforced.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it was an ongoing situation, and we took the teacher's aide aside and said, "Hey, gosh, maybe you might want to look
down.
Yeah,
settle down. Don't
reinforce. Don't
give them anything."
And so she learned. It was a great learning, and that's we had another kid in that group, Vincent, third grader, 8 years old. As severely autistic as any child I'd ever seen, and transitioning from one classroom from one stressful event to another stressful classroom, and things going on at home that were without explanation. And his echolalia was so incredible. Echolalia is just the verbalization of a long-term memory that he was able to capture under an environment that was stress-free. Well, he'd come into the classroom, and teacher would first thing is engage him. Yeah. And so he's stressed coming into this. Yeah, and so the first thing you guys is happening is he starts with a Disney story.
Yeah, you want any bugs?
Yeah, want any bugs?
Want any bugs?
Well, what do you mean? Well, one of the teachers is saying, "Well, he's trying to communicate." No, he's just responding to your request to have an interaction, and this is because he's so stressed. This is the best thing he can come up with. Yeah. Instead of allowing him to come into the classroom, maybe elope around and be comfortable in that environment, the first thing we do is engage, or we don't allow him to come to terms with the stressful environment. So we end up causing more stress to this kid because he wants to comply. He's learned to come in here, and
he also learns where people's buttons are.
That's right. And so
he would know that he could do things and he would get response. And I don't know what was going on in his home life, but he was a kid who, there were times when I really suspected some sexual abuse going on.
Yeah, we had talked about that. Yeah. When he grabbed my hand and real inappropriate for any situation, and I think there was a social worker there that we talked to them about. Just so inappropriate, but we didn't have the ability to do it. A report was filed. As we do. We tell somebody else, and it goes by the... Yeah, whether they think so or not, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But this kid was, he would go out into the playground, and the first thing he was elope, just back and forth, just back and forth. That was a stress, a personification of the stressful life that he was in. He wasn't able just to. And going under the chair. and doing those things that just said, hey, my life is full of stress. Well, autism is about stress and stress management. Short-term memories in disarray, can't learn anything, and you want me to perform. And we talked about this before about a teacher-centered versus a student-centered environment.
Right.
And in the case of this classroom, it became...
Well, my hope is that it went to a student-centered place.
But what was it when you first got in there?
Calendar.
Calendar. What is that? Tell me about calendar.
You know about calendar.
Yeah, what day of the week
what
is it?
Day of the week
what year is it?
What year is it? What's today's date? What day of the week is it? What month is it? And what's today?
They've been doing that for 4 years. Same kids. Yeah.
Of course. Oh, now let's do the money.
Listen,
let's count the money.
Yeah, 5 cents, 10 cents.
Yeah.
These
How much
kids
is this? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44.
These are kids that do an amazing...
Now let's do your math.
Yeah.
Right.
You had kids that did some amazing things. Joey did amazing stuff, and we want to know whether he's going to be able to count money at a store. He's not going to count money at a store. It's not what he does.
He'll never be able to buy anything at Walmart.
It doesn't matter. Because
he won't know how to swipe a card, enter a PIN.
But it doesn't matter. He's going to create such an incredible software program.
He'll be a graphic designer for somebody.
Just an amazing...
Because he can reproduce with 100% accuracy any logo.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
Any logo.
How about, there was another kid in that same classroom who did incredible stuff with construction paper.
Clint, yeah.
Clint?
Yeah.
He wanted to go and be able to run away. He did incredible stuff, but they were so afraid of letting him out of their sight that he was never able to explore anything.
Yeah.
And so the first thing he tried to do all the time was run. Let me go out and see what's over there on the...
Here, let's grab him.
First thing. So it became a learned behavior. Gosh, I need to get away. I just want to see what's over there around the fence.
Well, I had a chase down with Joey in the playground when Melissa was there. That, we'd taken him out for recess and he was out doing whatever. And suddenly, like a bolt, gone. Right?
Do you go over there by the horses or by the...
He was trying to go past the horses, down the subdivision road, off school property.
Want to go, want to explore. I doubt if that kid ever had a chance to go outside of his house. He never saw outside of anything.
And this was after we had walked him around the entire playground perimeter.
Yeah,
right?
But there's nothing there. It's just you got a fence.
Playground, right?
Yeah.
You got a fence. And he took off like a shot, and it was like, okay, this is a safety issue.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's become his safety issue because now we're on a live road.
Yeah.
So I had to take off, chase him down.
Yeah, but that was fun.
And Melissa said, I have never seen anybody move that fast, that quickly. She said, my God, you got your knees up over your chest moving to get that kid.
Joe's, here's a kid that...
But was he combative when I caught up with him? No. Not at all.
Just wanted to go see.
Just, hands on, let's come back, done.
If he would have had the opportunity to just see something, be by himself, just explore,
just go to the aquarium,
anything.
Right?
But they're never left alone. They're never left to do anything. We had Chris, we had Ethan in the backyard just looking around the yard, and Dad was saying, "Well, we can't let him do that." I said, "Why not?"
So why don't schools build exploratoriums?
Something,
right? Money. It's all about money and time.
Well, if we can do some good things by just talking about what we know, it's going to be good stuff.
And public perception of autism.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing.
It's just a thing. And,
as you've said, it might be the next evolution of where we're going.
Yeah.
Right? This might be just where that next higher self is going to be.
From all this good stuff, yeah.
Right? Don't know. But yeah, many people think autism can be cured. Jenny McCarthy, fixing her kids with diet. Well, she's keeping them from being hungry.
Well, that's good. And
good
God bless her. She's doing something.
Good for her.
If that was all it takes, God, we'll find the dough.
Yeah, right. Joey, don't know. Astrid, don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, Ethan, I don't know. Right? Just one of those crazy things. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Jim, for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.